We're live from our studios here in Kokomlemle on digital address GA0992539. This is your home of fearless, credible and independent journalism. Our lead stories this hour. 2 men arrested in connection with the kidnapping and killing of 4 girls in Takoradi, convicted and sentenced to death. We are live in Takoradi as we hear from family members, some of whom are insisting this is not enough. In governing, NPP reject calls by former President Mahama for electoral reform, saying he failed to establish wrongdoing on the part of the EC during the petition. But in the absence of a clear consequential order from the court in its judgment, what form and shape should a reform take? Should there be one? We hear from one of the proponents of reforms in the EC's electoral processes. And from COVID-19 to reactions to the election petition, we go across the regions today to hear from our correspondents. The Pulse is brought to you by Global Communities Dignilu, affordable, safe sanitation. Join us on DSTV 421, GoTV 144. Remember, we're streaming live on YouTube and our other social media handles. My name is Gifty Ando Apia. This is The Pulse. Please be my guest. Now, it's a trial that lasted more than 2 years, a period that has been agonizing for friends and families of the 4 Takoradi girls who went missing in 2018. More agonizing was the period when no one knew about the whereabouts of the girls and hoped that they would one day be brought back. Their disappearance sparked nationwide protests and campaigns, which were hashtagged Bring Back Our Tardy Girls.
Maybe a message and Nigerian New York has an for me, my night. Miss Lagana, and I, Miss Sano.
For the parent is sadness. Well, mine is not. It is anger. And I expect you to be angry. The kind of anger that is required for state agencies to act swiftly. In the meantime, we're still looking for the girls. See something, say something.
Imagine waking up one morning with a dream, with a hope, with an ambition. Maybe you just want to live your life. And then sometime during the day, somebody just kidnaps you and all these dreams are extinguished. This is what has happened to 3 young girls in the secondary Takoradi metropolis. Their families are agonizing, their communities are distraught, and the nation is seriously looking for them. But they may be alive. We need your help. If you see something, say something.
It's very disheartening, and it shouldn't happen. And so I'm asking that the authorities involved should make every effort to get our girls back.
Our thoughts and prayers at this moment are with the families of the victims, and we also call on the relevant state agencies to expedite action, double the effort to ensure the safe return of these girls.
Imagine the agony of losing a sister or a dear one. These are 3 mothers looking for 3 daughters. Where is the hope? Where is the love? Where is the ray of sunshine? We need to find our girls.
Bring back our tardy 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 girls.
So we saw that say I mean way so we would not say I mean way so no for me my night.
Bring back our tardy girls.
Well, that was the campaign back then when the thought was that the girls were alive. Well, as we're told by the police, investigations shows they are not alive. Today, the Sekondi High Court, hearing the case, delivered its verdict. Death sentence for the two men who were arrested in connection with the crime. Sam Uditek Wells and John Orji are expected to be killed for kidnapping and subsequently killing the 4 innocent girls in Takoradi in the western region of Ghana. Presiding judge at the Sekondi High Court 1, Justice Richard J. Frimpong, found the 2 men guilty on 8 counts of conspiracy to kidnap and conspiracy to murder. They have 30 days to appeal. We'll take you live to Takoradi shortly for details of the court's judgment and reactions that have followed in right now. But before we get to Nathalia Kwanzaa, who will give us the details of what went on in court today, take a look at a recap of events so far.
Between July and December 2018, 4 Takoradi girls went missing. Ruth Abeka, 19, Priscilla Blessing Bentum, 21, Ruth Love Kwasin, 18, and Priscilla Mantebia Crunchy, 15, were captured at Kansarodo, Buntumejebu, and in Crawford Junction, all in Sekondi Takoradi in the western region. On January 4, 2019, after months of fruitless checks, relatives, friends, and some residents went on demonstration demanding justice.
We want our sister back. That's all. Because they can't tell us that the kidnapper was jailed in police custody and he was able to escape. Why? Why? So we want answers. They have to explain to us why the kidnapper was able to escape from that cell.
But we are told he has been arrested.
That one we don't know.
So where are our girls? He has been arrested. Where are our girls? We can't find them. We want our girls. That is what
That's why we are
whether he has been arrested or whatever. When they arrested him first,
we don't know whether our girls, they are alive or they are not alive. We have invited Regional Police Commander to our end. We have invited Minister for Gender, the Deputy Minister, all that they are telling us that we should have exercise patience because the girls are there. If the girls are there, we want to see them. We really want to see them.
Yes, yes.
We are 100% convinced that if this incident happened to one of the ministers or happened to any dignitary in our country by now, I am convinced that we will see them or we will find the minister's daughters and the minister's children alive. So we, the citizens, we are also saying that the dignitary is supposed to serve us because we elected them to that level. Yes. We are dedicating this press conference to the president of Ghana, which is Nana Addo Dankwa Akufo-Addo. Here is the very particular place, Diabene, that he used this platform to have his last campaign.
Yes, 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 yes.
So therefore, we are calling Nana Addo Dankwa Akufo-Addo to come to our aid.
Have arrived, and as you can see, members of the community are hooting at the police who are driving past in a white pickup. The police simply driving through the community, and you can see that members of the community are hooting at them, screaming, shouting, jeering, as the police pickup makes its way across the town.
Please, to assist me. Suppose they did what I reported to them, this trade trigger will have not happened.
Yes.
Will never. Ruth Abeka, she was kidnapped 29th July 2018. On the following day that I reported the case to police. Nothing was done until the boys were at school before they called us to deal with these very cases. Let's take for instance media. When you go to laboratory and they examine you, they give you a sheet, the analysis that they have done. they give it to you. And that very sheet will be presented to your doctor to explain. So you want the sheet. You want the sheet of the analysis.
This led the Western Regional Police Commander, DCOP Vincent Redeemer Deju, to hold the first official press conference, giving information about how the kidnappings occurred. The story caught national attention. Residents of Takoradi began a series of street protests to draw more attention to the saga and to put pressure on the police. The then CID boss, DCOP Mamiya Tiwa Adedankwa, visited the families on January 26 with words of hope and safety of their children. On 2nd April 2019, CID boss Mamiya Tiwa Adedankwa, in a press conference, assured families they knew where the girls were.
Together with the BNI, we've worked very well, and currently we know where the girls are. I am unable to give the details because we don't want to compromise their safety. We are working hard together with other stakeholders so that these girls are brought back home safely. The assurance to the family is that they should keep on keeping on. The ladies, we know where they are and they are safe. So very soon they will be brought back home and they will go back to their family.
However, that was never to happen. Parents accused her of deceiving them. The police finally discovered their bones in a septic tank in the house of the lead suspect, Sam Udatek Wales. DNA tests later revealed there were the remains of the girls, confirming they weren't alive.
A few minutes ago, officers of the Ghana Police Service informed 4 families in Takoradi in the Western region of Ghana that DNA tests conducted on some human remains discovered in the course of police investigations into the disappearance of 4 missing girls had turned positive as the remains of the girls. The Ghana Police Service has, with regret, therefore informed the families that the remains are those of Ruth Abaka, Priscilla Blessing Bintum, Ruth Love Kwesen, and Priscilla Kranche. Investigations now established that the girls were victims of a serial kidnapping and murdering syndicate that operated in the Takoradi area. While for various reasons we were unsuccessful in obtaining and acting on accurate, actionable intelligence in good time to enable us to rescue the girls, we believe that the arrest of the culprits has effectively thwarted the ability of this syndicate to have continued with further kidnappings and murders.
IGP James Opombuenu indicated that Samuel Wales and John Orji confirmed kidnapping the girls after years of court proceedings. The Sekindi High Court is set to give its judgment.
Well, that judgment has been given, and Ina Thalia Kwanzaa, who sat through the proceedings in court, is joining me all the way from the Western region. Hello, Ina. Ina?
Hello, Gifty.
Right. So, Ina, tell us what happened in court today.
Yes, Gifty. So the court proceedings started at exactly 9 a.m. Around 8:57, the 2 suspects, Samuel Udotek Wills and John Ujiwa, drove in by the prison service and handful of police personnel. I could count about 20 of them over there. So at exactly 9 o'clock, the proceedings started. The judge sitting on this case read the facts of the case to the 7-member jury made up of a lady and 6 gentlemen. After reading the facts of the issue, we went on break, and I had opportunity to speak to some of the family members. For 2 of them, they had said that whatever happened, they still do not believe in whatever would come out of it. But for the father of Priscilla Mantibia Kranche, he said that after sitting through the proceedings from 2019 till today, he believed that there's a lot of work has gone into this. Before, they didn't really know what the police and officials were doing. So when we went back after after the break, that was when the 7-member jury
Let me just jump in there and bring in that soundbite from the family members you spoke to, and then we come back to you and you tell us what happened after the break. Well, Ina has been speaking to some of the parents or some of the family members. Take a listen.
Expectation is so simple that from day one, you don't want to change our mind. That what the case that they are discussing and going there with this 2 hours length of this, we the parents don't accept that our children are there. We the parents ask, you have denied flatly that our children are there and it's with the police, IGP and its commanders. Our children are with them because as far as they have refused to bring in Tina to testify, to tell us where he saw our children, the encouragement he gave it to us that he should exercise patience, that our children is in good hands. From that very period that they came to announce that our children has been murdered, for that matter, you will not accept it.
So looking at the evidence being read in court and all that, don't you think the police have enough evidence? What basis do you say that? So at the end of today's court hearing, you still hold on that you're...
I expect that these two guys will be convicted and sentenced so that they can be eliminated from society, so that such heinous crimes will no more continue to happen. This is my expectation, but I know the court tries on law, so whatever the verdict will be based upon the law, I have to accept it as it is. Per the police report and the evidences so far given to the court, I have to accept it, because if you ask me about the whereabouts of my daughter, I don't know, and I've not, since he left me on that 21st day, I've never get any gist of living somewhere. So I have to accept per the police report.
So those were some of the family members that Ina spoke to. Ina, so this was when you went on the break, but then you subsequently returned into the court. Take us through what happened from there.
Sure, Gifty. So when we went back to court, the 7-member jury were asked to give their verdict. And according to all 7, they found both accused guilty of all 8 committals being taken against them. So that is conspiracy to kidnap and conspiracy to murder. All of them were found guilty. And so right after the jury had spoken, the judge sitting on the case, Richard Ejefrimpong, said that, well, per the laws of this country, if you murder someone, the law should deal with you just like that. So he sentenced both of them to death. But Gifty, I want us to look at something. In this kidnap case, you have 23 witnesses, and these are evidences. Some of them were family members, some of them were things they took from the crime scenes. And there was one particular one that the judge made emphasis on today in court, a Facebook chat between Samuel Udosek Wills and the second accused. In that Facebook chat, the judge said there were some key mentioners. So one of them was issue of kidnapping, which they spelled KDP, murder, money, Malam, family of the girls calling me, and then going to NHIA for documents. So these are some of the things that the judge said the jury should make notice of. He also did mention that under several circumstances, both accused persons, that is John Uji and then Samuel Udosek, given different accounts, had mentioned one way or the other. First of all, he said Uji had said that he does not have a direct trace to the kidnapping, but Udosek does. In another development too, Samuel Udosek will said that Uji had connection with the kidnapping of Priscilla Blessing Beintum. So these were some of the facts that came out in court today. But when we finished with the sentence being given, immediately these two were drove out of the court premises by the security personnel who brought them. I had the opportunity to speak to the family members. 2 of the family members, that is the Beintum and the Anzakobna, said they were not satisfied. They think it's just a way to end court proceedings, and then they feel that there is more to it than we are seeing. Though there has been sentenced, they are still not satisfied. Let's take a listen to some of them.
I expect that these two guys will be convicted and sentenced so that they can be eliminated from society, so that such heinous crimes will no more continue to happen. This is my expectation, but I know the court tries on law, so whatever the verdict will be, based.
Well, that was actually a conversation that Ina had earlier ahead of the verdict. But Ina, we'll bring that the conversation you had with them afterwards much later in a subsequent bulletin, so that's okay. But you can go through. You've already told us that some of them accept, some of them still think that their children are alive. But how was it today in court in terms of the reactions, the demeanor by these two suspects, well, who have now been convicted?
Well, Gifty, unlike other days when they come and you see that they are full of themselves, they are confident, today they look very calm.
Ina, have I lost you?
Could hardly see them move. So when we finished the court proceedings, but there was tension in the morning. There was tension, even though a lot of people, I'm sure a lot of residents in Takoradi could not join their families there, but the few of them who were there, there was tension and the police presence and all that. So for the two, I can say that their demeanor was very calm compared to the previous days. And then Gifty, Wednesday and Thursday, we went to court for the oral address, and their lawyers refused to appear. And so these people from Wednesday have been very calm through the proceedings.
Well, Ina, very interesting times there. We look forward to the reaction from the Takoradi people and themselves, who had staged several protests, several campaigns on the back of this. Have any of the leaders of these campaigns, etc., been talking after this?
Sure. So we spoke to the conveyor of the Concerned Mothers Association, Josephine Amu, who said she was satisfied with the sentence, given the evidence that she had seen with the 23 witnesses who came to court, the videos they showed through these proceedings, and then the sentence being given. But her only disappointment had got to do with when they, as Concerned Mothers Association, had demanded that Udotek had made an allegation earlier that he was led to leave the Takoradi police office by a police officer, and they had demanded to see this police officer, and that demand was never granted. That is where her disappointment comes in. But on the whole, she is satisfied with the sentence today.
Ina, thank you very much. If we need, we will come back to you for more details. But let me get on the on another conversation, still on Zoom. Adam Bona is a security analyst who has been following this story from day one. Adam Bona, thank you very much for your patience. It's good to have you this afternoon. Hello, Mr. Bona, do you hear me?
Yeah, thank you for having me, Gift. Yeah.
Great, great. So, your initial thoughts?
Well, mixed feelings. It's a sad, thing that happened, shouldn't have happened. I would say that they've been sentenced after wasting the young ladies. But anyone who understands the way these things work, one can probably put across and say that usually for kidnapping cases, or usually it's not kidnapping until, the report says so or there's an arrest. Usually, once your family would go to a police station and report that you are missing. And internationally, 9 out of 10 missing persons report that are made to various police stations or facilities. 9 out of 10 are usually a hoax. And if you have noticed, most of the reported missing persons cases that have happened after this one, apart from what's the name? The Canadian girls,
yeah.
and I think one other. Most of them have been hoaxed. Recently, 3 girls or so from a school, their families they themselves reported themselves kidnapped, and the police followed up and got them arrested. It's a sad news, I would say, mixed feelings, sentenced to death, and anyone who knows the way these things work, once you are, prosecuted with, what do you call it, murder, the charges includes murder and is upheld, the law says you should be sentenced to death. And so even though for a very long time, the head of state or the president who is supposed to sign the death warrant, none of them, right from President Kufuor to date, none of them have signed the death warrant. It means that these people are going to be in prison custody. I am not a supporter of the death sentence. And so they are going to be in prison custody for the rest of their lives. Some people were sentenced to death. Eventually, they were freed, depending on how they behaved in prison. So I would say it's a very sad news. But have we learned lessons? I think lessons are what we should be looking at. And so all the officers involved, right from Apietu, Mami Atiwa, Opon Bueno, and most importantly, Dr. Afrifa, who was involved in doing the police forensic analysis of the bones that were collected. He presented a solid, evidence in court that led to probably the sentencing of this, call them suspect, now, convicts to death. So I would say very sad, mixed feelings. We could have done better. I hope we've learned lessons out of this gift.
Okay, hang on for me. Let me bring in a lawyer, Samuel Agboche, who is from the national campaign. He's a national campaign coordinator for Amnesty International. You do know that Amnesty International, like you, does not believe in the death sentence. And I wanted to bring him in. I don't have him. I don't seem to have him at the moment. But Adam, when you talk about the lessons, do you want to highlight some of the key areas that we should have learned from? A lot of people, including yourself at the beginning of this, had said that the time frame within which the matter occurred and when it was reported had a lot of impact on the ability of the law enforcement agencies to apprehend these people, and even perhaps the girls could have been alive at the time. What are the lessons you see from your end?
Correct. If you look at it, lessons learned means that every missing person reported at any police facility must be taken seriously. It must be taken seriously. If it's a hoax, those who are involved in it should be arrested and punished. And so I believe that the advocacy has worked. And it is a reason why the Canadian girls were found within 72 hours or so. Subsequently, right from Mamea to, what's the name, CID, the current CID boss, Kenny Abua.
Yeah.
Every case that has been reported of someone missing, they have been able to locate the person. But I am still at loss with the fact that police officers have to go to court usually to get a warrant before they could, get the telecos to release information about cell site and movement of, people who might be of interest to them in terms of when missing persons are reported to them, with the use of technology. Where you are talking to me now, the phone I'm using, the telephony I'm using, if it's MTN, Vodafone, or Airtel, Tigo, they should be able to know where exactly, approximately where I am. But the law says you have to go to court to get a warrant. I know subsequently the police had some friendly arrangement with the telecos, where the telecos, once it has to do with missing persons, they've come in to support the police to do that. But it needs amendment of our laws so that, in other jurisdictions, a police at a certain rank, let's say chief superintendent or maybe superintendent or DSP, should be able to go to a judge's home to get a warrant signed, send the warrant to a telecom company and tell them, I have a warrant, I need to be able to get the location of this person. We still don't have that. And to me, that has also culminated in sometimes the delay in the work, the work the police does when it comes to being able to apprehend these people, investigating these people, and catching them before this whole thing turns into something else. Condolences to the families of the missing this dead girls. I would say that it shouldn't have happened. It's happened, but one of the key lessons I would say is the speedy way involved in getting every case that someone is missing investigated, and if it's a hoax, even that person is arrested. The other thing has to do with probably the police's own now beefing up its own in terms of systems. At least I'm privy to they putting their systems in place. Their DNA lab is now one of the best in the sub-region, ensuring that they are able to use it to, crack some of these cases. And also training officers. I know after this case became, a nationwide concern, they trained officers with regards to being able to, spot a missing persons case or a case that could end up, haunting them. And so these are some of the lessons. And maybe the young people who got lost and those who have witnessed what has happened have also learned some lessons. So, Gifty, I would say that by and large, we've got to put this case behind us and forge ahead and continue to let the young people in this country, especially the girls, let them know that don't begin to talk to people you don't know. Be careful visiting them, know who they are. These are some of the things the young, girls especially, and even boys, in this day and age of, a lot of things happening in technology, we need to, whilst educating the girls, also educate the boys, because then if you look at it, what I've picked up, they might have been killed for something else. Those who believe in rituals. So let's be very careful. The way we let our young ones out there, sometimes they go 2-3 days and we don't seem to bother because they can leave home and come back in a week. And if you are a parent and you allow your kids to do this, then you should know you have, one day such a thing could happen to you, Gifty.
Okay, let me bring in, I think I have Samuel Agboche, who is with the Amnesty International. Ms. Agboche, thank you very much for your time. Good afternoon. Ms. Agboche, can you hear me? Hello? Okay, it looks like I'm not being successful on this attempt as well. We'll try and reach him out on the phone. But Adam Bona, before you go, our reporter is telling us that some of the family members are still not satisfied with what has happened. Is there a way you reckon we can reach out to them?
I think I know when Mami Atiwa used to be the CRD boss. I'm not too sure. I haven't followed that aspect today. I know they put some clinical psychologists, at their disposal because they need a lot of counseling. Yes, this scientifically, this is a reality. But for them, they say they wouldn't want to accept that this is a reality based on communication that has taken place in the past. So, Gifty, I would say that the families who are still in disbelief of what has happened need a lot of counseling. The police and the state would have to counsel them. But whilst doing that, let's probably ensure that if there are ways and means to probably do this, let's do it in a way that it will be done a bit away from the media, because I know there's been some banter where, the police is talking or the state is dealing with it and the family members are also speaking to the media. Once the families and the state or the police are able to come together in trying to let them understand that, science has proven that the bones they found are that of your girls, then we forge ahead and say that it shouldn't happen again. But even if it does, it shouldn't take the dimension it's taken. And I'm hoping that these young men who have been prosecuted, others who would want to go into that trade would learn lessons from it and not go out there trying to kidnap others and use them for ritual purposes.
Adam Bona, thank you so much for your time this afternoon. Adam Bona is a security analyst. He has been following the story about the kidnapped girls from day one. And now he gives us his thoughts on the back of it. He believes that he says he has mixed reactions essentially, but he believes that it's about time that we invested a lot more into training and getting to learn the lessons that this comes with. He also believes that, like the Amnesty International, the death sentence really isn't the way to go. What it means, by the way, is that they'll be in custody for the rest of their lives. Let's get on to Mr. Agboche, who is with the Amnesty International. They have been on a campaign against death sentence. Mr. Agboche, can you hear me now?
Sure.
All right. I believe you do hear me now. Thank you very much. Amnesty International has been following this story quite closely, hasn't it?
Yeah, of course. We've been following the case, and as we call for justice for the victims, we believe that justice has been delivered according to the laws of Ghana. And yes, that's where we are now.
Okay. But then there's a part of this justice that has been delivered that doesn't necessarily sit well within the principles of Amnesty International.
Yeah, yes, of course. We believe that the continual use of the death penalty is not the way to go. We believe that there's no justice system in the world that is 100% proof. We believe that there could be new evidence that will come up tomorrow that probably could point to the fact that these people were not the one who committed the crime. They could be exonerated tomorrow by fresh evidence and so on and so forth. And that is why we believe that sentencing the people to life imprisonment or a fixed term of imprisonment is the way to go. So that in case we got the trial wrong, in case we got the prosecution wrong, we wouldn't regret our action of killing these people as the court has pronounced. So we believe that sentencing them to life imprisonment or a fixed term in prison is the way to go.
That doesn't really seem to be much cause for alarm, because even if you look at our history, the last time that any president actually signed for the death penalty to take effect was several years back, somewhere I think in the early 90s. So really, there isn't much to worry about, is there?
Well, for now, we would say there's not much to be worried about. But if you agree with me that we don't know who is coming tomorrow, and the person will be legally right to use the law to kill these people. Because it only takes the president to sign for these people to be executed. And the president will be right, because that is what the law sees. In any case, if we haven't used it, we have not killed anybody or executed anybody since 1993. Why are we still keeping it in our booths? Because if we are not using it, it means that we have agreed that the use of it is outmoded, it outlived its usefulness. The whole world is moving towards abolishing the death penalty because it has not served its purpose. Crime is still ongoing, even though some countries are killing people or executing people based on the death penalty. There's no evidence to say that countries that have abolished the death penalty have their crime rates increase or decrease. There's no such data. So if Ghana, for this number of years, haven't used it, it means that we have come to agree that the use of it is outmoded, and we are not interested in killing people. We are much more interested in keeping people on life imprisonment or on a fixed term imprisonment so that they can reform.
Okay.
You know, when you know that there's a time that you can be granted amnesty, there's this hope, the right to hope. So you are likely to reform your life. But if you are condemned completely on death, it means that there's no hope for you. There's nothing to look out for in future.
Right. I get that. I get that point. But before you go, these people have been convicted of killing 4 girls, 4 lives that they've taken away. What do you reckon would have been the worst of punishment, or the appropriate, if you like, punishment for such a crime?
No, of course, everybody should pay for actions and inaction. Of course, the law says that if you commit a crime, you pay the penalty or live by the consequences of it. So therefore, for now, that is what the law says, that they are sentenced to death. But we're saying that the highest form of punishment for such crime, like murder, should be life imprisonment or a fixed term imprisonment, but not to take the person's life again. We know that this is very painful to the family.
Yeah.
This is very painful to the family. But in most cases, even if you ask the family, what do you think should be the punishment for such people, they will tell you they wish that these people can come to them and say that, oh, we are sorry, or they will have the opportunity to interact with these people and ask them, why did you do that? Why did you do it? Now they will share with the victims or the family why they did it and why there is a need for them to ask for forgiveness, so that these people will reform and repent. And these people will also be resource persons to other people who are nursing similar crimes, that, look, I did it, I did not benefit from it, and I regret it. But when we kill them, like we've made no use of them in any other way.
Right. They have 30 days to appeal. This will be my final question. They have 30 days to appeal. Is it the assumption that Amnesty International might be helping in terms of seeking the life imprisonment rather than the death sentence?
No, for now, that is the law we have in our books until.
No, I'm asking whether it's something that Amnesty International is willing to do to help them with the appeal, so it gets to life imprisonment rather than death sentence.
No, of course, if it is their right to file an appeal, if it is the case that they will need the help of Amnesty International, why not? We will be more than willing to assist them. Even those who are already on death row, any of them that is willing to file for an appeal for a second look at their current cases, why not? Amnesty will be prepared to assist in that regard.
Samuel, thank you so much. Samuel Agboche, there is a national coordinator, Amnesty International, helping us with their thought. Well, about 2 or 3 years ago, we all went on this campaign. Today, or you could say justice has been delivered. But like Adam Bona said, it's a lot of mixed feelings that these girls could have been saved. But as we know now, they're no more. Although some of their family members do not accept it, they're no more. And those responsible for their deaths have been sentenced to life, have been sentenced to death, I beg your pardon. You're still watching The Pulse with me, Gifty, and up here. We'll take a very quick break.